Hello and welcome to the Nikon Report, your latest roundup of the Nikon news and other photographic announcements that we found interesting. This is Becky.
And this is Konstantin.
And the main news of the day is
that our YouTube channel just hit 1 million views. Woo! That is quite an achievement, I think. 1 million views on all our videos. We've really been working on it, particularly over the last year and a half. We started out with a handful of subscribers and we built it up nicely. So thank you to everyone for your support. It's very much appreciated, and we intend to bring you even more content next year and beyond.
Thank you so much. But it's not all about us.
No.
The main story of today, Nikon has announced firmware updates for Nikon D5, D850 and D500, which add support of CF Express Type B memory cards and also other range of bug fixes for these cameras. So the original CF Express support, the development of that support, has been announced in February 2019 when they announced the firmware releases for Z6 and Z7 cameras.
That's right.
And just to quote them from that report, they said, in addition to Z7 and Z6, in the future, CF Express memory card support will be added to the Nikon D5, D850 and D500 digital SLR cameras as well. So we waited.
And waited.
And waited.
And waited a little longer. So a year, almost 2 years later.
That's right. So what happened was last week, we said that Nikon has to release this firmware ASAP.
We said it's about time, Nikon, come on now. And then magically and mysteriously,
it happened.
We move in mysterious ways, but we're very glad that it has arrived.
Absolutely. It's always good to have uncle who works at Nikon, isn't it?
That's right. Now, we don't have any relatives who work at Nikon, just full disclaimer there. There are a few additional bug fixes, but the main thing that we have to point out is that having CF Express compatibility doesn't necessarily mean that your camera is going to be faster. That is very much down to the hardware of the camera. So for example, someone asked us during our live stream last week, I think it was on Friday, if the buffer size would increase or the speed of the D850 would increase with the CF Express cards. And we tested it, and the answer is no, not really.
Not really.
The camera is still as fast as the camera is going to be, but it's more, I would say, a convenience point. So if you do have CF Express cards and you don't want to juggle between CFE and XQD, then you've got the ability to use CFE in your cameras now. Absolutely.
So don't expect any speed increases. It's all about compatibility.
Yeah.
Nikon also published the list of compatible CF Express memory cards. That's available on the USA Nikon website, and we also put the links in the description below under the video. In terms of CF Express cards, why do you think they're important?
I think that at the moment, with XQD cards, we're a little bit limited to the speeds because the fastest XQD cards, certainly that I've seen that Sony produce, are 440 meg per second.
That's true.
Whereas SanDisk are now producing CF Express cards, which are
I think up to 1,500 megabytes.
Yeah,
reading speed about 1,000 writing speeds.
1,000 or 1,200 write speed. So having those write speed possibilities or potential means that future cameras will then be able to take advantage of it. Obviously, the existing cameras are what they are.
Absolutely. And another thing is obviously CF Express cards are supported by more manufacturers.
Yes.
So availability of them is definitely better compared to XQD cards.
Exactly.
And also, I forgot what I wanted to say.
Well, one of the... that's fine, I'll just fill in. Yeah. One of the issues that we had originally with XQD cards was that there were only two manufacturers. There were Sony and Lexar. And then, of course, Micron, the Lexar owner company or mother company, actually closed down their memory section. So we didn't have XQD cards made by Lexar, and therefore Sony had a bit of a monopoly. And they could pretty much charge what they wanted for those cards, which meant that they became eye-wateringly expensive.
And while you were doing this, it came back to me. So basically what I said, it's supported by more manufacturers.
Yeah.
But eventually, while the prices are about the same at this moment,
currently,
by having more manufacturers manufacturing the things, we definitely will see a price adjustment. So they will become cheaper with the time.
Yeah.
This is something that we don't really see with XQD cards.
Not at the moment. Just as a point of interest, it's not there, but that's fine.
There.
I'm going to say it anyway.
We went off the script.
I know we went off script, sorry. If you're comparing SD cards that are a similar speed to the XQD cards,
Okay.
in terms of price, they're almost the same.
That's true.
So there isn't any saving for having SD cards over XQD at this point. You're still better off buying XQD or CF Express because of the speeds available.
Absolutely, and in terms of reliability,
Yeah.
XQD cards are definitely a lot more reliable.
More
I
robust.
haven't seen any XQD card failing, but I'm sure our viewers will
There'll
point
be
us.
someone that has had a problem with them.
Absolutely.
Anyway, there we go.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. It's happening. It's good to have a compatibility update for the camera that's been released about 3 years ago.
Yes, it helps.
And
particularly considering they promised it so long ago.
absolutely, absolutely. But keep in mind, it's not going to give you extra speed again. So it's limited by the hardware itself. So the speeds will be roughly about the same as XQD cards.
Exactly. Now, in terms of other changes to the firmware, because the D5, the D850, and the D500 also had other elements, bug fixes, additional features added with this firmware. So let's do a quick little rundown. The D5 firmware version 1.40.
1.40.
What does that give us?
All right, you can now choose the band 2.4 or 5 gigahertz for the host SSID when connecting to wireless networks via WT6 or WT5. Rules of the thumb, WT5 and 6 are wireless transmitters. So if you have those, you will definitely see a better compatibility with them. They also released some other things, which basically an issue which prevented normal shutter release and caused an error to be displayed during a very specific set of circumstances.
Right.
More details on the Nikon website, but it's literally one of the things in a million that can happen to you, and you would get an error message. So they fixed that.
Quite often, these errors that don't come up in normal testing when you're testing a camera pre-production are under a very excruciating this setting, when you've got D1 set to on and you're in manual mode with a shutter speed of 2/50th of a second, and then something will happen. So it's a fix for whatever that was.
So obviously the most wished fix on Nikon list.
It's definitely in demand. Now, the D850 firmware update was version 1.20. What can we expect from that one?
Well, change the default for custom settings B6 center weighted area from 8mm to 12mm.
You've got a whole extra 4mm of center weighted area.
It's very exciting, isn't it?
Wow.
And fix the following issues. Okay, that's a long one, so just skip that.
We're not going to bother.
No.
Well, I think a brief rundown would be there were some bug fixes. There was an issue with the non-CPU lens data.
That's right.
There was an issue with the movie output when connected to an external recorder.
Yep, via HDMI cable.
Yeah, there was also an issue when you were in a specific situation using silent photography during live view. A portion of the display would dim, so that's been fixed. And lastly, there is an issue, or was an issue, with VR lenses, again under very specific circumstances where the lens would stop responding. So all of those have been fixed. The last one is the D500 firmware update version 1.30. So what did they do with that one? Okay,
they fixed an issue that caused both the entire frame and background only options for custom settings E3 exposure compensation setting for flash in the custom setting menu to produce the same results as entire frame during flash photography.
I didn't get a word of that. But
all right, so if you slow that down by half of the speed, you may understand what I'm saying, because I can't.
So there was an issue with exposure compensation for flash.
Correct.
And it was a bug.
Exactly.
And they fixed it.
Exactly.
Thank you, Nikon.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good stuff.
What would we like to see? As this has been the magic formula, if we say what we would like, maybe it will happen next week.
Tomorrow, effectively. It's going to happen tomorrow.
What do we want in future updates, Con?
I want to see a focus stacking on cameras like D5 and D500.
Yes.
And the question is, well, we have it on D850, so why not to have it on D5 and D500?
Yeah, on the Z6 and Z7 as well.
Here we go.
There's no reason why not. And also it would be quite useful to have the negative digitizer, because that's also in the D850 and the D780. So why not make it backwards compatible for... It's just software.
That's the thing. I think it's nothing hardware based, so I think it's entirely possible. Exactly. So, Nikon?
That's our wish list. Make it happen.
The second story of today, it's been developing for the last 3 weeks or so. We've heard rumors about those, but finally we had a confirmation. It's titled Potential Component Shortage for Nikon and Other Camera Manufacturers After a Devastating 3-Day Fire at Japanese High-End Components Factory.
That's right. So originally we'd heard some slightly off-the-record rumors that there had been a factory fire that had lasted for 3 full days, and we didn't know what sort of impact that was going to have. It's not a Nikon factory, as I say, it's a component factory. And they supply parts for Canon, Nikon, and Sony cameras.
Yes, absolutely. So it's the factory name is AKM Semiconductor. It's based in Nobeoka, and it supplies most of Japanese camera makers as well as hi-fi manufacturers as well. So they manufacture large-scale integrated circuits, including digital to analog converters. So it's called DUCs.
Right.
So those things you have in your cameras, in your phones, they sold separately, and effectively converts your digital input, let's say digital sound, and make it sound like analog sound.
Right.
So they also do analog to digital converters, as well as other components used in manufacture of consumer professional products in the audio and photography industries.
Right. So in terms of impact,
yes,
we've now had that officially from, there have been reports, it's out there in the world, so we can talk about it now.
Yes.
Rather than it just being a supposed rumor. It does seem that according to Inside Imaging, which is a magazine, or is it a blog?
Sorry?
Is it a blog or a magazine?
No, it's a newspaper.
A newspaper?
Digital newspaper, yeah.
Okay, so according to Inside Imaging, which is a digital newspaper, companies including Nikon, Canon, and Sony had at the time already pulled back their Black Friday promotions. We can say that because there is a potential shortage of stock, Nikon have also extended that to their winter promotion items.
That's true.
What that essentially means is that if you are planning to take advantage of the Nikon winter savings promotions, and there are items that we don't currently have in stock, but more importantly that Nikon don't have in stock, and they are certain they won't be able to supply before the end of the promotion, you will not be able to order them or take advantage of the promotional price. It does mean that anything that we have in stock or Nikon are able to supply us before the 10th of January, we can, of course, offer the discounted price. But for those items we don't have in stock and Nikon can't supply, they won't be able to offer the promo price.
So it's all doom and gloom then?
Not really, because there's plenty of items that are in stock, but there are a few, I mean, not to, on the record, off the record, one of the biggest items, or one of our biggest sellers, I would say, that's been affected is the D850.
D850.
So if you were planning to buy a D850 before the end of the year, then I would do so now or be willing to wait a little bit. How's that?
And to rub salt in the wound, there's a little thing in England or United Kingdom that we call Brexit, which is going to happen on the 1st of January, 2021.
Or will it?
Or will it? We don't know. But if that happens, unfortunately, no one knows what's going to happen. But because most of UK shipments are coming from Europe or Netherlands, to be specific, Nikon says that stay with us and we will figure it out together.
Yeah, that's the news we have so far, is we don't know what's going to happen. But either way, we will power through. We'll keep calm and carry on.
Absolutely. I'm going to pack my luggage and go back to Russia.
As long as you can stream from Russia, it'll be fine.
Definitely. My Z6 will stay with me.
That's it. Okay.
Okay. Well, on another positive news, Nikon Rumors published an article that Nikon F6 has been officially discontinued in Japan and United States.
Now, we actually knew this from back in October because it was officially discontinued in Europe in October.
You heard it here first.
Absolutely. In fact, we did a live stream to honor the wonderful F6, which you can find on our YouTube channel, and it is also linked below.
Absolutely. It's a Halloween stream as well.
It was a special. I was dressed up for that one. That's a treat for you.
Me too.
You were dressed up as yourself. Yes. The F6, I have to say, is a little bit of an end of an era.
Yes.
I love that camera.
Film cameras are dead.
No, that's not true. Well, yes, it is pretty true, but it's not true.
It is, but it's not.
It is, but it's not.
The same, but different.
Vicious rumor. No, so this is the end of an era as far as Nikon are concerned, just because that was the last film camera.
God bless.
It was the last film camera that they have made. That is sad. It is a sad day. R.I.P. F6. Right. Following on from the theme of discontinuation, we have found out today that the DK17M has been discontinued.
As of today.
As of today. right now, hot off the press.
What is DK17M?
DK17M is a magnifying eyepiece, circular for the professional Nikon bodies, that provides a 1.2 times magnification.
So basically it makes everything looks big in the viewfinder.
Exactly. It was ideal if you were using manual focus lenses or if you tended to just exclusively use manual focus on your autofocus lenses. It's a little bit of a shame that they've discontinued it, and I don't entirely understand why they've discontinued it.
I agree.
But unfortunately, we can't get them anymore.
There's some strange workarounds that you can do, isn't it?
Yeah, you can buy a large to small adapter and use the DG2, which is an old school magnifier, but they still make that.
So large to small adapter is DK18, isn't it?
As far as I know, yes, that is the part name. So you could work around it if you really need to. I have a feeling that because the displays of live view are so good now and so high resolution that you can actually just use that in place of magnifying the eyepiece.
That's true.
And you've also got focus peaking.
I agree.
And all these tools. So they probably thought it was just a part that they no longer needed to
That's
produce.
the thing. For me personally, the K17M, it would give you magnification, but you wouldn't be able to see the edges of the frame.
Yeah, cut down about 5% of the viewfinder.
Yeah, absolutely. So it can kind of mess up with your framing. In other news, Nikon rumors have published an update for the shipping dates for Nikon Z7 Mark II cameras worldwide. We can't really share more information on that, I'm afraid.
Because we haven't received our delivery notification yet. So hopefully we will see some by the end of the week. As soon as we know if you're on the waiting list or you're on the pre-order list and we have stock coming in, we will absolutely get in touch with you.
Absolutely. And in other news, CIPA's October report shows camera market has mostly recovered from its COVID-19 downturn.
Good. What is CIPA?
CIPA stands for Camera and Imaging Products Association.
Okay.
So what they do, it's an industry association that aggregates shipments and sales figures from the leading camera manufacturers. So how many cameras have been shipped?
Right.
So what they publish is, first of all, that the sales have increased since March quite a bit. They also published that DSLR market is shrinking, so by about 22% in October. At the same time, the mirrorless market has increased by 12%. So we kind of see one market is shrinking, another one is expanding. And overall volume is increasing since COVID. So that's an interesting read. So go to DP Review website and you can find the links in the description below. From our point of view, we can say that obviously we, in our first lockdown, we had to close the door and we started to work remotely. And we could see steady improvement of sales from March.
Yeah.
So from our retail point of view, we definitely saw an increase from March lockdown onwards. The sales were climbing up steadily. And I think we are now on the levels we were about last year.
Yes, I would say so. It's also been particularly busy thanks to the boost of Black Friday and the fact that lockdown 2.0 in the UK at least ended, which meant that we could open our doors again, which definitely helped. Just interestingly,
yes,
piggybacking on this news,
yes,
there are some bestsellers which I thought our viewers, listeners might find interesting.
Yes, someone asked this in our previous videos, and they said, can you share what are the best-selling cameras in your shop? We can't share figures or percentages.
No. But we can do a kind of rank of 1 to 5. So the top seller for us in the month of November was the Z6 II, which does make sense, really.
Yeah, release month, isn't it?
That's right. The second was the D850, which, despite what many people say and asking for a replacement, continues to be one of the strongest cameras, I think.
Absolutely.
In the Nikon range. Camera number 3 was the Z50, one of my little favorites.
It's interesting, isn't it? I'm quite surprised by this one specifically. But I guess the price is just right, isn't it?
It is. And also the fact that it's on offer, and it's, I think, an ideal camera for a number of different photographers, which is possibly why it's proven so popular.
Nifty 50.
The number 4 was the D3500, which is an entry-level camera. We would expect that to be up there in the bestsellers.
Absolutely.
And the last one's a little bit surprising, I think, which is the D780.
D780.
That's what I said. So those are the top 5 bestsellers for us just for the month of November. We may do a little year in review for you next week on our live stream. So
if you would like us to do this, definitely put your comment below.
Absolutely. And if you don't want us, we'll probably do it anyway because we've decided that's what we're going to do. So.
All right, what's next? Nikon UK and Grays of Westminster will be closed from Thursday 24th of December until Monday, 4th of January.
Now,
Woo!
but that's complete coincidence that we are also closed at the same time as Nikon. But
I don't think it is.
But it does make the most sense. We will, of course, have the online shop open. We will be able to answer emails and our Facebook messages. We just won't physically be in the shop or answering the telephones for that time period.
Or emails, or text messages, or WhatsApps, Instagrams, comments
I
below.
think all of those are actually going to still be answered over Christmas. So
Not by me.
fake news.
I'm gone. I've gone fishing for 10 days.
This is going to be me and Sam
Pretty
answering
much.
emails and Facebook
Pretty
messages
much.
and Instagram. Great.
Let's talk about culture.
So let's do our cultural segment. Nikon Film Festival, the 11th edition. Now, last week we announced that Nikon were
Photo
opening
contest.
up their photographic competition, exactly. But part of that was an sort of audiovisual movie section. So they are now hosting their film festival. The submissions need to be in by the 17th of February, and then the voting opens on the 24th of February. So if you're interested in participating, please do click the link in the description below.
Yeah, the theme of the festival is called A Game, and the video should be 2 minutes and 20 seconds short.
Long. Short or long? I mean, short.
Yeah.
It's short. That is short. I don't think we've ever produced a video that's that short. Anyway, so the this is very exciting.
Yes.
Nikon UK announces digital partnership with the National Gallery for
Oh.
2020-2021.
I love National Gallery.
So do I. It is my favourite gallery of the galleries in
Yeah.
in
If you're in London and you're as cultured as us, you know National Gallery exists.
It's the place to be. It actually has one of my favourite paintings hanging in it.
So
And
just
I'm
for
not gonna say
people
what
who
that is.
don't live in London, it's the place right next to Trafalgar Square.
Yeah, it's that big building behind Trafalgar Square for anyone who doesn't know. But so Nikon have decided to partner up with them,
For some digital events.
which is going to be very exciting.
Yeah, they're going to have some photo of the month competitions, and they will help with some workshops as well.
I hope we're going to get an invite to something like that.
Yeah,
Probably
as,
not.
as the speakers.
as the keynote speaker.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We just have a little booth in the corner and ignore us.
All right, and the next couple of news come from the segment that is called We Don't Know What We Are Talking About. The first news is called Nikon introduces the CNC video measuring system, which is called Nexif VMZ-S3020. Do you know what that is?
No.
All right, so this is a device, which is most suitable for measuring semiconductor and electronic components, and as well as associated tooling. So basically, that allows you to photograph all those motherboards and all other things and give you actual measurements of them.
In Nikon Corporation news, Nikon Corp has been selected for the Dow Jones Sustainability Indices,
Tell me more.
DJSI World and DJSI Asia Pacific for the third consecutive year.
That's pretty cool.
So the Dow Jones Sustainability World Index,
Yes.
or DJSI World,
Yes.
is a global index consisting of the top 10% of the largest 2,500 stocks in the S&P Global Broad Market Index, based on their sustainability and environmental practices. So that's good news for Nikon.
It's good news, isn't it?
Very nice.
I'm surprised that this news comes in Russian because I couldn't understand the word you said.
Well, essentially, Nikon are very, very proud of this achievement for the simple reason that it aligns with their corporate philosophy, which is trustworthiness and creativity.
Wow.
So, well done, Nikon.
Well done, Nikon.
Now, for an interesting read,
A Sunday read on Tuesday.
a Sunday read on a Tuesday, or whenever you happen to be watching or listening to this, Nikon have actually got this little series on their website about the history of Nikon. They've done a 1-minute story about David Douglas Duncan and Nikon lenses.
Yeah, I've read this and it looks like a graphic novel.
It's great.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's an online sort of graphic comic strip, if you like, interactive comic strip. So if you've got a minute or two, then check out the link below and have a little read of that.
Okay, so we're done with news for now. Let's move on to Nikon reviews. And there are a couple of reviews that Tom Hogan has published on his website. He published reviews on 24-50 lens, the one that you're
good.
reviewing now.
Yeah.
And his bottom line is, you get what you pay for. It's a good lens for the money,
Yeah.
but it's not better than 24-70 or let's say 24 to 72.8.
Wouldn't have expected it to be, but it's
Absolutely.
good to hear it from Tom Hogan. We do like his reviews.
Absolutely. He marks it as expected, so which means it's not bad, but it's not, let's say, it's not top in the chart in terms of image quality.
Not exceptional.
I personally think that for this type of lens, it's designed to be cheap and to be sold as a kit with a camera to be very inexpensive.
Yes.
It's small and tiny, so as a workaround lens, I think it's really good.
Yeah.
And he makes a point that they needed to differentiate the price points between Z5 and Z6 kits.
Fair enough.
And that's the reason why I kind of designed this lens. He is hoping that the Nikon will release something like 50 to 250 lens, but designed for full frame market and make it very inexpensive.
That would be great. And then you've got that kind of inexpensive series of lenses, and then you've got the sort of next tier up, just as we've always had with F-mounts. So that makes sense.
Absolutely. He also published a review on 50 to 250 DX lens. And he said at the implied kit price of $300 and the 2-lens bundle Nikon's been running, this lens is a solid bargain. Not only is Z50 is appropriate in size and weight, but it's a solid performer. The lens price, only $300, is still pretty much a bargain for what lens delivers. It would be difficult to find another 250mm capable lens on the market that matches the lens performance at this lens price.
That's astonishing. Well, I'm very glad to hear that. It is a bargain.
Absolutely. I think if you buy an Z50 now, so it may be worth getting a twin kit lens package.
Exactly. Now on to F-mount lens reviews. The latest installment from Brad Hill's field testing on the 120 to 300 VR lens, not one you see every day, rates it as one of Nikon's best ever lenses.
Is that so?
Ever.
Wow, ever.
So that's saying something.
Yeah, that's quite a statement, isn't it?
If you're interested in having a look at the full field test, he has links and pictures galore on there. We will include a link in the description box below.
Absolutely. And then the last article that we're going to touch today is DP Review published an article which is called Gear of the Year, Barney's Choice Part 2. Wow. Very specific. I'm not sure what Part 1 was.
I missed Part 1.
Yeah, I think it was about some Fuji camera.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So we're going to ignore that. But the second part, he wrote about reflex Nikon 1000mm f11 mirrorless lens. And for some reason, he used it this year, and he's sharing his experiences with it.
That's interesting. I wonder if we should do a feature on the reflex Nikons just, to be on topic.
Why not? Let's be on the trend.
Exactly. The 1000mm f11 is the smallest, lightest 1000mm that I've certainly ever seen, and I think that most manufacturers have produced. You can pick it up with one hand.
Yes.
And it's 1000mm. It's fixed f11 aperture, and it requires neutral density filters in order to stop it down.
And you can almost put it on your mirrorless camera.
Yeah, you can. No, you can't. But I mean, with an FTZ. Why would you say that? You could always put it on your mirrorless. Mirrorless lens does not automatically mean mirrorless camera. Two different things.
Lesson learned.
It's a mirror lens, not mirrorless lens.
Yes.
Why does it say mirrorless lens?
Because I typed it.
Okay, so ignore everything.
Potato, patata.
He says it is a mirror lens.
Mirror.
It's an F-mount mirror lens. That's all you need to know. Good. I think
and
that's
you can put it on your mirrorless camera.
No, you can't.
Via FTZ adapter.
Yes, via FTZ adapter. Thank you.
And this is a wrap. I wanted to finish this issue with a quote from Henri Cartier-Bresson, which says, "Photography is an immediate reaction. Drawing is meditation."
I like that.
In the current photographic world, though, I would rephrase it to photography news is immediate reaction. Photography itself is a meditation.
Thank you very much for watching and or listening. Please do subscribe to us on the many channels that you can now find us, whether it's following us on Spotify or subscribing to our YouTube channel.
We're everywhere.
You cannot escape from us. And we will hopefully see you for another Nikon report next week.
Bye.